Hey, my name's Charmaine. Welcome to the channel. This is my first podcast video. I'm making a series just sharing things that I'm interested in. I decided to start with God first. The title of this video is A Discourse about God, Theology. The definition of the word theology is the study of God, or more broadly, to study the nature of God, religious beliefs, and God's relation to the world. The first half of the word theology is theo. The word theo in ancient Greek language translates to the word God in modern English language today. The second half of the word theology is the suffix logi. Logi meaning reason, discourse, or study. When did humans first start using the word God? The word God comes from the Bible, and people started using the word God about 500 years ago when the Bible was translated from ancient Hebrew language to ancient Greek language. Before that, the word Yahweh was used. The title meaning supreme or most high, then translated to the word God that represents Greek theos. So when the Bible was rewritten as the New Testament in ancient Greek language, the word Elohim or Yahweh was then translated to English as God. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam all recognize Abraham as their first prophet, who God revealed himself to in ancient Mesopotamia. These constitute the three Abrahamic faiths. So this would be where Western traditions and religions get the word God from, and is pretty much why I use the word God today, being born in the West. I basically learnt the word and the concept from Western religions. The oldest known deity in human history, according to Wikipedia, is Anu, a Sumerian god worshipped in ancient Mesopotamia. Anu was considered the father of gods and was responsible for the creation of the universe. The exact time humans became religious remains unknown. There may be evidence of ritualistic or religious behavior from even hundreds of thousands of years ago, according to archaeology. Maybe humans have natural tendencies to believe in God and the afterlife, and things of that nature. God is sometimes referred to as a higher power, and people generally have a personal and sometimes differing understanding of the concept of that higher power. Naturally, individuals tend to insert their preconceived ideas about God, who God is, what God is, how God acts and works, or whether God even exists. So I'm wondering, what is the literal definition of the word God, and what does the word God mean to me? And my own personal interpretation or understanding of the word God refers to the force that is responsible for the creation of all things, essentially. Perhaps the true nature of God is kind of inconceivable, or to me in some ways. Perhaps God is an almighty supreme being, made of everything, and everything is made of God. God may be the source of energy, pure love that brought about all of existence. God might be pure consciousness, experiencing oneself, and is what people refer to as the higher self, or inner self, or true self. At the end of the day, I think what is key is how does the information serve my walk with God ultimately? Like, how does the information help me on my own personal journey and help me expand my awareness of the nature of reality and existence? My beliefs might be fixed, but I feel I'm somewhat open to expanding my understanding. I'm interested to know how the various systems answer the question, what is the nature of God? So how does religion answer this question? I'll refer to my notes. Monotheism is the belief in a single God who is the only deity, and polytheism is the belief in multiple gods. Three of the most well-known monotheistic religions are Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. These three Abrahamic religions believe in one God, who is all-knowing, all-seeing, and all-powerful, from whom Abraham received a divine revelation. Many world religions have stories to explain how we were created. The Bible and the Torah and the Quran tell stories of God creating everything, including mankind. The following is a recording of some of
Christianity says that God is our creator. In the Bible, Book of Gen, the first statement is, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth," Genesis 1 verse 1 NIV. This verse introduces the notion that God initiated the existence of the world through a deliberate and purposeful act of creation. God is thought to have brought the universe into existence without pre-existing materials. God is often conceived as the greatest entity in existence, the supreme ultimate reality, the being perfect in power, wisdom, and goodness, believed to be the cause of all things and so who is worshipped, as in Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism, as creator, sustainer and ruler of the universe. God is often thought of as incorporeal and independent of the material creation, while pantheism holds that God is the universe itself. The Bible does not give one specific definition of God. Instead, it assumes God's existence from the beginning and reveals his nature and work throughout. God is understood as the supreme being and the creator of the universe. Judaism says that Yahweh is the sole creator of everything in existence. Yahweh is understood as the absolute one, indivisible, and incomparable being who is the creator deity, the cause and preserver of all existence according to the rationalistic Jewish theology articulated by the medieval Jewish philosopher and jurist Moses Maimonides, which later came to dominate much of official and traditional Jewish thought. Maimonides affirmed Avicenna's conception of God as the supreme being, both omnipresent and incorporeal, 6, necessarily existing for the creation of the universe, while rejecting Aristotle's conception of God as the unmoved mover. Classical Judaism views God as a personal God, meaning that humans can have a relationship with God and vice versa. Jewish monotheism thinks of God in terms of definite character or personality, while Jewish pantheism is content with a view of God as impersonal. This is shown in the Jewish liturgy, such as in the Adon Olam hymn. The tetragram is the four-letter Hebrew theonym, transliterated as YHWH or YHVH, the name of God in the Hebrew Bible. The four letters, written and read from right to left, in Hebrew, are Yod, He, Vav, and He, may be derived from a verb that means, to be, to exist, to cause to become, or, to come to pass. In the Hebrew Bible, the tetragrammaton occurs 6,828 times. The Torah ascribes some human features to God. However, other Jewish religious works describe God as formless and otherworldly. The traditional view, elaborated by figures such as Maimonides, reckons that God is wholly incomprehensible and therefore impossible to envision, resulting in an historical tradition of divine incorporeality. As such, attempting to describe God's appearance in practical terms can be considered disrespectful. Islam says that Allah is the creator, judge, and rewarder, unique and inherently one, omnipotent and all-merciful. Allah is the Lord of the worlds, the Most High. Allah is the pivot of the Muslim faith. The Quran stresses above all Allah's singularity and sole sovereignty, a doctrinal tenet indicated by the Arabic term tawhid, oneness. Muslims may reject anthropomorphic descriptions of Allah, although the Quran describes Allah as speaking, sitting on a throne, and having a face, eyes, and hands. Many Muslims believe that the word Allah is the personal name of God in the Quran, rather than Allah being the Arabic translation for the word God. Buddhism says that there is no God of creation like there is in the Abrahamic religions and many of the polytheistic religions. Buddhism is neither monotheistic nor polytheistic. The Buddhist religion does not focus on the worship of a deity. In Buddhist philosophy, Buddha nature is the innate potential for all sentient beings to become a Buddha, or the fact that all beings already have a pure Buddha essence within. Broadly speaking, it refers to the belief that the luminous mind, 8, 9, 10, the natural and true state of the mind, 11, which is pure, visuddhi, mind undefiled by kleshas. 8. Is inherently present in every sentient being, and is eternal and unchanging. Buddhist ontology follows the doctrine of dependent origination, whereby all phenomena arise in dependence on other phenomena, hence no primal unmoved mover could be acknowledged or discerned. Buddhist teachings do state that there are divine beings called devas, sometimes translated as gods, and other Buddhist deities, heavens, and rebirths in its doctrine of sasra, or cyclical rebirth. Buddhism teaches that none of these gods is a creator or an eternal being, though they can live very long lives. In Buddhism, the devas are also trapped in the cycle of rebirth. West African traditions say that Olorin is the supreme deity or supreme being credited with creating the universe and all living things. In the Yoruba pantheon, Olorin is also called Olodumare, Yoruba alphabet, Olodumare, Eledumare and Eledowa/Eledua. One day, Olodumare decided to create Earth, and sent an emissary, the Orisha Obatala, to perform this task. Olodumare gave Obatala the materials he needed to create the world, a small bag of loose earth, a gold chain, and a 5-toed hen. Obatala was instructed to use the chain to descend from heaven. Mulungu is the chief god of most Bantu-speaking peoples of East Africa, the Yao and Zimba of Malawi and Mozambique, the Kamba of Kenya, and the Gogo of Tanzania all recognize Mulungu as their supreme being. Also, the Swahili-speaking peoples of East and Central Africa use Mungu as the name of the supreme being. Hinduism says that Brahman is the cause of all that exists. A Sanskrit word, Brahman, is the formless and genderless, non-physical supreme self, as oneness in everyone, the highest universal principle. Brahman is the ultimate reality of the universe, the unchanging, permanent universal absolute spirit. Hindus worship a three-in-one deity known as Trimurti, which includes Brahma, the creator, Shiva, the destroyer, and Vishnu, the preserver. The Atman, a basic concept in Hinduism, refers to the universal self or soul, the core essence that resides within all that exists. In dualistic schools of Hinduism such as the theistic Dvaita Vedanta, Brahman is different from Atman. Rastafarianism says that the Judeo-Christian God, Jehovah, created all things. Rastafarians believe Christ came to earth as a divine manifestation of Jah. Rastafarians believe that Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia is the Messiah and rebirth of Christ. How science answers the question, what is the nature of God? The consensus among scientists, astronomers and cosmologists is that the Big Bang hypothesis explains the origins of the universe and how everything was made. In the beginning there was nothing, just a single point that appeared out of nowhere and contained the precursors of everything in the universe compacted into a very small ball with infinite density and intense heat called singularity, a region so small that it essentially had no size at all. Then suddenly, roughly 13.8 billion years ago, according to Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity, cosmic inflation started and the singularity, the hot dense point, where all matter and energy was concentrated, began to rapidly expand at the speed of light. After the initial expansion, a cooling period followed, prompting the formation of subatomic particles, and these primordial elements then gravitated to generate the universe, spacetime, matter and energy. If all of space and time existed within the singularity, then the singularity itself did not exist within the planes of space or time, and there is no center of the universe. Everything is expanding from everything else at an equal rate. As for the origins of the singularity, or even what existed before it, scientists are baffled. A rival scientific theory about the origins of the universe, called the steady-state hypothesis, says that the universe has always existed, and that the cosmos is expanding and constantly creating matter as it expands. This idea has fallen in favor of the Big Bang hypothesis and is not widely supported by scientists today. Creationism, the pseudoscientific notion, says that the universe and the various forms of life were created divinely by God out of nothing and claims to offer credible scientific arguments to support the biblical story of creation. As it stands, by modern scientific scope, the existence of a supreme creator being has yet to be proven explicitly. There is no experiment capable of detecting God, that fit within the boundaries of empirical examination. God's existence is not testable either by proof or disproof. Therefore, the question of God's existence may lie outside the purview of modern science by definition. Further understanding the nature of reality and the laws that govern the universe may shed light on theological truths from a scientific standpoint. And as scientific discovery progresses, the evidence for God's existence may grow stronger rather than weaker, providing evidence for intelligent creation. How philosophy answers the question, what is the nature of God? Philosophical theism is the belief that a supreme being does exist, or must exist, independent of the teaching or revelation of any particular religion. It represents belief in God entirely without doctrine, except for that which can be discerned by reason and the contemplation of natural laws. Atheism is the belief that God is not real, a supreme being does not exist. Theistic rationalism is a philosophy that using reason and logic to understand something is the basis for religious truth. Rationalism proposes to achieve knowledge of God by the use of human reason that is unassisted by sensory experiences. How art and culture answers the question, what is the nature of God? Throughout human history, many different cultures have often sought to depict gods in naturalistic form. Using imagination to illustrate God's form through art, sculpture, writing, music, dance and architecture. In Western culture, the most usual depiction is of the Trinity in Renaissance art that depicts God the Father as an old man, usually with a long beard and patriarchal in appearance, sometimes with a triangular halo, as a reference to the Trinity, or with a papal tiara, especially in Northern Renaissance painting. Between late antiquity and the early Renaissance, and particularly in the 13th century, God is frequently represented in human form as the second person in the Trinity. Archaeologists say that YHWH was originally part of the pantheon of gods worshipped by the Canaanites before Hebrews. YHWH was one of about 200 different gods. The main god was called El, which was the god of all gods. He had 200 sons, one of which was YHWH. El is where Israel gets the last two letters of their name. El is identified in Canaanite art as a seated male figure with arms raised as if about to give a blessing. In myths from Ugarit, in Syria, he is described as sitting enthroned in his palace, where he gives his sanction to all decisions among the gods affecting nature and society. Today's popular culture, mainstream media and entertainment portrayals of God are varied and range across the whole spectrum.
Religion, science, philosophy, and art are all some reflections of humanity's attempt to understand the nature of reality, discovering fundamental truths about existence. The term humanities refers to the academic discipline that study aspects of human society and culture, including certain fundamental questions asked by humans. During the Renaissance, the term humanities referred to the study of classical literature and language, as opposed to the study of religion or divinity. The study of humanities was a key part of the secular curriculum in universities at the time. Today, the humanities are more frequently defined as any field of study outside of natural science, social sciences, formal sciences, and applied sciences. They use methods that are primarily critical, speculative, or interactive, and have a significant historical element as distinguished from the mainly empirical approaches to science. This video is made for general purposes only, and it's not intended for educational use or anything like that. The main reason I made this video is simply because I'm curious about the origins of the word God, and I wanted to better understand why I use the word God myself. As an individual who's seeking to grow and expand my consciousness, I thought it might be useful to document the process in video form for the sake of this podcast and join the discussion here on YouTube, and gain insights by receiving feedback, sharing information, expressing myself, and connecting with others. Thanks for watching. Comment your thoughts on the origins of the word God. The title of the next video is A Journey of Self-Discovery. Who am I? Subscribe for more videos. Have a lovely day. Take care.